Good evening, everybody.
Welcome back to Competitive Speed Series.
The time has come for 5 red lights. Three wide through turn 3. Oh, into the wall!
I knew this would happen. I knew they wanted to try something.
AMR have gotten their wish. A 1-2 for the team. Another victory for VNT to put the cherry on top of their dominance. Hello, good evening, and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. My name is Frostbreath, aka Rob, and I'll be your commentator once again for tonight. I got a smile on my face when I saw the first chat message. Makes me really happy, Wixel. I'm glad you tuned in early, and I hope you're just as ready as I am for this next round. We have nearly arrived at the halfway point season 7 so far. We're now in round number 7 of this 7th season. We've arrived at Silverstone, and more interestingly, at Silverstone normally is already a great track to race at. This time, we're gonna go backwards. For the first time in my commentary career, I'm gonna commentate a race where the drivers are gonna go around the track in the other direction. So where you would normally say maggots, baggots, this time it will be baggots, maggots. I hope I don't mess that one up. I certainly have got a track map up. It's without the corner names. I'll try to find a better map as soon as I can. But here we are at the end of January in the reverse track Silverstone. As for the standings, it's been a good race last week for FVR, as we all know, in Abu Dhabi. They have managed to claim a victory at long last in Season 7, ending the 3-race win streak of VNT. The podium streak for the championship leaders and the reigning champions still continues. Now, 18 races in a row with last race included, and let's see if they can keep that streak alive still after tonight. They are now in the lead by 110 points instead of 126. FVR have gained back 16 points. There were no reports after their hard racing last week in Abu Dhabi. There was one incident report for a 3-second time penalty removal in favor of, let me have a quick look, ET8 Marcel Pabst. He got his 3 seconds removed, and that means Oliver Knott for VNT lost a position in the final results. He went from P6 to P7 as Marcel Pabst went from 7th to 6th. And that means slightly less points therefore for VNT still, after Oliver Knott had a incident with the several cars in the front field battle, which was, of course, being fought out by both VNT drivers, both FVR drivers, as well as one of the TRT drivers. It was quite brilliant to watch. Let's see if it's going to be another fight of VNT versus FVR and a potential other car, or maybe somebody else is going to go fastest overall. If you're an AMS fan, Estenba has returned, and he, of course, was up until last week the only other driver from another team to win a race this season for AMS in Zandvoort in the second round. And he's back for the team, and that will, of course, bring great joy to AMS. They're currently sitting at P6 in the standings. They are not that far ahead of OMB, who managed to climb up to P7 after a decent result last week, and SET and IRT not scoring any points whatsoever. AZR scored 1 point, is now within 10 points of IRT. However, they will not have any driver tonight, unfortunately. Nobody was able to, I think, that's at least what I'm thinking, was able to get into a driving seat tonight. That means we'll be 18 drivers, 9 teams that will be fighting for the win once again. It's also quite exciting, as you can see, on P3 and P4, ET8 versus TRT. 4 points gap between the two teams. VR, of course, back in second place after a strong result last week. ET8 back down to third. And I'd say the top 4 is all still in a good title contention. Let's see if the other teams can turn up the heat as well. VRM still doing a decent job in P5. The only other team and the best of the rest to get into the 100 points already. And they are not, well, actually a decent way clear from AMS. Let's see if they can keep that gap going here in Silverstone. Let's also swap to the game, but because I believe the time has indeed come to show you what's going on over here. Let's promising to be a great race. You can see here the pit lane as we're used to. However, they'll be driving, turning left instead of right tonight. Instead of coming towards us, well, they'll be driving away from us. And I'm really curious to see what lap times drivers can do. Setup-wise, I'd say these setups won't be wildly different from the other configuration of the track. The normal way around, of course. I think there might be a slightly, very slightly higher setup with downforce. Other than that, it's from what I've seen, more or less the same. But then again, these are some of the fastest drivers we'll see in this game. And therefore, they might have a completely different opinion, as Ryan Modler is the first driver to exit the pit lane and is going to attempt a hot lap after this one particular outlap, as he's just headed through turn 15. Backwards on the Wellington Straight, headed toward Beckett's and Beckett's. It's going to be fun seeing those corners in reverse order. It's different to drive around on these corners, of course, when going the other way around. And then there's this particular part. More interestingly, this is where the second DRS zone actually is going to be. Right here. The DRS is going to be opened on this old pit straight. In fact, that pit box, of course, still is being used in other racing series. Not for Formula 1, though. It used to be there. No longer. As we're now headed back. And this straight no longer has DRS. And the backwards configuration, as the Haas in the background, or in the foreground actually, is very enthusiastic about track limits. It is actually Estenba who is giving Ryan Modler the hurry up. Ryan will hope that he's got a bit of a gap to the Haas, and of course the Haas complies by slowing down a little bit. He of course doesn't want any dirty air. As we're now headed towards turn number 3, 2 and 1. Yes, I'm going to say the corner numbers are reverse as well, because why not? Ryan Modler has now officially started his hot lap, but we're gonna follow around Estenba, AMS's one and only race winner so far in Zandvoort, the second round of the season. Let's join him on board as he heads through turn 17 and 16, backwards to turn number 15, and then the first of 2 DRS zones. Let's see if we can hit the apex nicely. I'm not sure how often these drivers actually practice on tracks in reverse. I'd say it's not a lot. I think very few racing leagues actually do tracks in reverse, because drivers, they prefer predictability, stability, and therefore not too many surprises. Some might even consider backward tracks unpleasant surprises, as Estenba nearly loses it through turn 9. That was a bit of a scary moment on the pit straight, the old pit straight. Then a very long left-hander this corner is now, and then of course turning right here. It's a difficult corner to get right in the normal configuration going forwards. Is there no sound? Oh, this is fascinating. Let me actually see if I can fix that real quick. I'm not sure why it has decided to not do any sound. It's very unusual. There's no game sound. All right. Well, at least there's commentary. That's the most important thing. As Estenba actually goes fastest overall, it does mean I'm going to have to pause the game a little bit, so apologies about that. I hope I can get it fixed. I may have an idea. I can already see what's going on. Yep. This should fix it. It actually hasn't fixed it, because for some reason... very unusual, this. My computer has considered the game to be a microphone input instead of an output, and I've got no clue why. I've never had this before, otherwise I would have tested it beforehand. So this is a new thing for me, and I'm currently unsure on how to fix it. But I don't want to distract you guys too much with that. We're going to have to focus ourselves on what's going on the track. I can hear it through my headset, I can tell you that. But I've got no idea why it has decided to not allow any audio through OBS. I might want to fix it in between qualification and the race. Now I'm actually hoping for a restart to let it get fixed, as Marcel Paps goes fastest overall with a 24.9, the first driver to do so. And a lot of drivers already got their lap times in. Carl Vergezen is currently about to finish his. Let's see where he can get his car onto. His teammate currently sitting in P10, Adam Schumer. 25.426. As car goes across the line, he goes, wow, literally 1 millisecond faster than that. That is quite impressive to see. Speedy is up next. He is right ahead of his teammate. He might have had a bit of a tow between turn 6 and 5 as he goes across the line. 25.3. That's a P10 overtaking both TRT drivers. TRT at the moment slightly on the back foot. That is interesting. Normally, you would expecting them a bit more ahead, to be honest. What's more interesting, though, is both FVR drivers currently very far behind. Especially Nick Arrow in P13. For those joining and unable to hear anything, yes, there's no game audio at the moment. There is for me, so that is why I had no idea that you guys didn't have it. So... It's definitely OBS's fault right there. It's gonna be a bit quiet now out on track anyway, so let me see if I can try and fix some things here and there. Game application audio. Yeah, that should be the problem normally. Window, yeah, it's actually trying to catch the... Does this do anything? No, it doesn't. This is very strange. Let me see if I can actually add a new audio source. Funnily enough, in my OBS it's still called F124 audio. I've never changed the name of the audio thing. So I'm selecting the game window now, then I'm selecting OK. And there's still nothing going on, I think. Oh, there we go. Well, this is interesting. Wow. I believe it has worked, hasn't it? Bingo. For some reason, OBS has decided that I should actually name it F125 audio from this week onwards. Now, audio is good. I did up my own game volume a little bit, so if it is too loud, let me know. I can hear cars. That's excellent, Grunt. I'm happy you can hear the cars just as well as I do. I've got a new headset, by the way, so for me they sound much better than before. My old headset was already brilliant, but this one has got a much deeper sound. A little loud one in the pits. Let me... yeah, it's... Oh, I forgot to... Of course, when you add a new audio source, it's actually gonna be at the default setting of 0.0 decibels. And I've now put it down to -5, which is normal. Should be fine now. Let's drive on board a little bit and let me know when I'm talking through it. Is it fine like this? If not, I'll tune it down even more, or just of my own voice volume a little bit, because I've put it down a little bit as well. We're actually currently following Tom Wolfgram for IRT. IRT desperately needs some points now. They've got a great chance to create a big gap to AZR, who are not present tonight. Currently with Joachim Wigley. They're doing a brilliant job. He's sitting in P8. Tom Wolfgram sitting in P15, 25.5. They're both on a hot lap right now. Joachim is actually stuck in a whole heap of traffic as Tom Wolfgram goes just over half a tenth quicker in the first sector. Not too bad. Chasing down one of the Red Bulls, who moves out of the way quite nicely. That's one of the FVR drivers, of course. Everybody is currently out on a hot lap. It's very busy indeed. We can see both of the Haas cars together. And I would say, indeed, Aston is currently on a hot lap. And he has been towed, I think, by Otsoy Loitomaki for a little bit. And once again, Aston proving that he's really fast. Currently sitting on the front row. He was only the second driver to set a hot lap. And he's still happily sitting there. Tom Wolfgram, about 2 tenths quicker right now. Will find himself easily in the top 10. He's being cheered on by Jaden in the chat. And it's definitely bolstered his performance out here. As he heads toward the final 2 corners. And then, ooh, that looked like he went a little bit wide, a bit bumpy. Bit too much curb, I'd say. Let's see if that's cost him some time. Across the line. No, it actually has put him up well over 3/10 quicker. Might have been more, perhaps. But at least now he's in P8. And doing a nice job indeed. Ryan Grob for ET8. It's looking like ET8 on average is the strongest team. First and fourth at the moment. And they need that in the battle for second place with the FVR, who are still quite in the mud. Both of them on a hot lap right now. Tamas Kokeny and Nick Arrow as Aston Ba does go faster once again. 24.8. Let's see if Ryan Grob can beat that. He was decently faster in Sector 1. He's about to finish Sector 2. As he goes through Turn 7. Let's see. You can see there on the minimap the tiny little white line breaking up the sectors. And right now it's well over 1.5 faster. And it looks like he will find himself close to pole position as well. This is going to be an interesting fight for pole position. 5 drivers are quite close to it, all the way down to Victor Whittler. And then Zozo, I'd say, for SET, not too far behind either for this fight. As Ryan Grob is going to finish his hot lap indeed. And we'll see what the lap time is going to be. 24.911. That is a nice lap time indeed. As Ryan Mudler actually beats that immediately by 24.865. So far so good then for VNT with Ryan Mudler back on the front row. AMS currently no way a threat for the championship. ET8 might potentially become a threat if they can really take the fight to the Ferraris. Marcel Pabst on his way still behind Ryan Grob at the moment. But that is... Ooh, that nearly went terribly wrong there for him. In turn 7, nearly went too far to the left side. And he's lost a heap of time. 2.5 slower than his previous attempt. Look like this is not going to be the run. Carl Vergezen has recovered a bit of TRT's honor in the meanwhile. Finds himself in P5. Victor Whittler slots into 4th place, overtaking Marcel. I'd say Marcel will be coming into the pit lane quite soon. Zozo goes even faster, goes into P4. There's a lot of different teams that we're used to right now in the top 4. VNT, of course, is the usual suspect, but where is FVR at the moment? Tamas Kokeny and Nick Arrow, I believe, are currently pushing hard. Oh, Tamas goes too wide, invalidates his lap, and he will stay in P10 for now. Nick Arrow in the white Red Bull. It's going to be very easy to separate them now in qualifying. As we're watching other drivers, now we know that Nick Arrow is driving the Japan livery Red Bull. And Tamas is in the normal Red Bull livery. But so far, that livery hasn't really brought him any performance. He's far behind the usual performance of the team. And he's not pushing anymore. He's going to join the pit lane very soon. Going a little bit slow to make sure he will lose as little time as possible there. As his teammate is right ahead of him. One of the Mercedes cars approaching fast. I believe that's Adam Schumer. Who is indeed... I'm not sure if he's pushing. He's definitely not pushing now. He's much slower than he was before. 25.3 for Adam. Still only 14th fastest. As for OMB, who had a decent result last week, we've got Alberto in P8 and Pascal Gill P12. I believe Salva Almeida was supposed to drive the second Aston Martin. Alberto has replaced him, I believe. And he's now doing a decent job for the team. And he's not that far off from pole position either. In fact, let's have a little look at those gaps. Everything all the way down to P8 is within 2.5 of a second. And that is quite impressive. So this battle for pole position, I'd say, might potentially go all the way down to Alberto. And we might see a new team on pole position. Aston Ba is the fastest at the moment. Ryan Mudler, 0.5 tenth behind him. Ryan Grob is 0.5 tenth behind the other Ryan. 2 Ryans once again together on the grid. Second and third, different teams. Zozo in P4, 1 millisecond faster than Victor Whittler, whose Ferrari is being towed back into the garage. And then there is Marcel Pabst for the other ET8 car in P6. 1.5 tenth more or less backwards. Was only meant to be Alberto, not Salva. Alright, there we are. Carl Vergezen in P7, also within 0.2 of a second of pole position. His teammate down in P14 at the moment. VRM is having a terrible day. Alessandro Biondi is the closest to another team. About 4/100ths of a second behind Speedy at the moment. But Jordan Mopti, his performance, unfortunately, at least in qualifying, is not yet good enough. Perhaps he's invalidated the second run. Let's follow around both Saubers for a little bit. Both of them are on the track at the moment. As you can see here, Jordan coming out as we speak. Headed onto the track through what is normally considered the pit entry. And even with this reverse configuration, I'd say this pit lane overall is still the slowest. The speed limit posts are still in the exact same location. So that 60 kph limit is still just as long as it is when going forwards. We'll find out who is in pole position in about 2 minutes time. There's 2 minutes 10 seconds remaining at the moment, more or less. Alessandro Biondi is going to be the first to start a final hot lap. We haven't seen them and we haven't watched them all throughout this session so far. So let's have a little look at what they can pull off. They want to get off those accursed last 2 places because their team is currently 5th in the standings. So they've got some big shoes to fill, I'd say. And Alessandro and Jordan know this very well, I guess. Across the line goes Biondi for his final attempt. There is absolutely no traffic ahead of him. Everybody is well clear from him. Adam Schumer is still in the pit lane, frankly. And by this point, it's going to be too late for him to get out again. And that means P14 is the best he's going to have to hope for. That's interesting. I mean, he wasn't out that late on his second attempt. Very strange. 1.5 tenths quicker there for Biondi. That means he's already potentially climbing close to P13. But then again, everybody else is still not yet on a hot lap. The top 2 has just started as well. Same goes for Tom Wolfgram. And Joaquin Wigley just gone across the line too. So far, Biondi is still well clear from traffic. They are now on the first straight, headed towards turn number 5. And Biondi there, the difficult left-hander onto the straight without DRS this time. He's getting a little bit of time in sector 2, but I'd say that's not enough. Could have found a lot more with the track evolution. And now he's going to encounter traffic. There's thankfully 2 cars going all the way up the track to make sure they do not impede Biondi, because they do not want a qualifying ban, especially FVR, as they're fighting VNT for the title. And Biondi improves massively in the final sector. Goes all the way up to P9. That is potentially a promising side for the other teams as well. As pretty much everybody else is on a hot lap now. Jordan Mopti 3.5 tenths quicker in sector 2. Nick Arrow is now about to become the slowest driver of the lot, but Jordan Mopti cannot improve enough. Stays last. Adam Schumer stays 16th. Obviously, he didn't get to start a lap. Tom Wolfgram doesn't improve either. P15. That is painful. So, it looks like Aston Baas abandoned his hot lap as well. That means Ryan Mutler has got an opportunity. No, he's already abandoned his lap too. A lot of drivers are not improving. Zozo then, with a perfect opportunity to improve. Can he take pole position and go for a surprise run for SET? He can't. He doesn't improve either. What is going on with everybody tonight? Perhaps ET8 can claim a pole position here around Silverstone. Ryan Grubb for the McLarens. The silver livery right here. Goes across the line. Does go pole position up at quite the margin. Can they make it a 1-2? They can make it a 1-2. ET8 have locked out the front row unless Victor Whitler has done a mighty final sector, which he hasn't. He's gained back a little bit of time, but he too couldn't improve there. Carl Vergezen then does improve, goes 5th fastest. And the top two teams are not to be found in the top 4 for the first time in this season, I believe. But VNT will still be delighted to know that both of their drivers are ahead of their nearest rivals. FVR absolutely in the mud. But ET8, goodness me, Ryan Grob, Marcel Pabst, they are the fastest of the lot, and they are closely matched in qualifying pace, which means they've got great potential to control the race in first and second and really put FVR and VNT under pressure for the title. Especially FVR will be worried about the McLarens, as they just had re-overtaken them in the standings, back for second place. ET8 looks like the team to beat here in Silverstone backwards. Absolutely brilliant performance by both drivers. And once again, of course, Aston Baan not disappointing either for AMS. He will definitely be a threat to ET8's victory hopes, as he's going to try and take a second win for the team. And that will definitely help AMS in the fight for 5th against VRM. Alessandro Biondi 10th and Jordan Mopti last. Nick Arrow I'm not sure what happened here tonight, but he didn't improve in his final attempt. That is probably what's cost him very, very dearly. He'll be starting on the last row for FVR. Insert certain Jose Mourinho clip. You send it to the Discord. Let's see. Yep, there we are. I think plenty of people know which one you mean. All right, now we're going to see if ET8 can take this 1-2 in qualifying into a 1-2 in the race. That will definitely bring them a heap of points. They've already got the 2 points for the pole position. And they've got another potential 65 points on the board for first and second place combined. That's a huge pile of points to close the gap to VNT and FVR especially. And they might now properly become a title contender. But we'll have to see first and foremost how the race is going to go for everybody. It's a bit of a tentative thing for me as well. I do not know how these drivers are going to drive around a track backwards and how often they've practiced it. I'd say that perhaps those drivers starting on the back haven't practiced as much as those starting in the front. Which would be an obvious thing to say, but then again, usually drivers practice a lot, no matter which track it is. Only now this backwards, it might be a little bit different. Now then, tire strategy. I think it is still going to be a very easy one-stop, even when the track is the other way around. Most likely, the drivers will be starting on the mediums, but I think, especially drivers such as Nick Arrow, will be trying an alternate strategy and starting on the hard tires. Adam Schumer appears to be in trouble. He's left. In case you're wondering, how did you not see that? My taskbar is in the way of the bottom of the game. Meaning that I cannot see who joins and leaves. And frankly, that means we're going to have to restart. Adam needs to get back in. It also explains why he was unable to get back out again. I was already so surprised on why on earth he wasn't able to get back out in time. The opposite of an easy one-stop. All right. Perhaps a two-stop then? A difficult one-stop, perhaps? We'll see. Ready and retire has been set in the chat already. A restart has been confirmed. Two-stop will be usual. All right. Well, like I said, I'm inexperienced on commentating on this track backwards. As we now have a tentative start, we're going to have to get going again. As Adam Schumer was unable to get back in the lobby in time. Dynamic weather. And already somebody saying in the chat, on God, bro, if it rains. Well, this is Silverstone. This is in Great Britain. There could very well be a huge chance of the weather turning for the worse, as we are seeing absolute bumper car displays right here. The track is being destroyed. All kinds of stuff flying into the crowd. Many questions will be asked. Come on, rain. In fact, somebody is posting a gif of a rain dance in the hopes of it actually happening. Or at least I think it's a gif of a rain dance. It's currently static. There we are. Indeed, it is. Marcel, I'm not sure if he's gotten his message. He's gotten the message come across to him, but he's happily driving around at full speed, trying to get himself disqualified. Adam Schumer's AI, of course, is right there. This is the reason why we are restarting. A one-stop will be hard. There will probably be punctures. All right. Well, thank you for informing me of that one. A two-stop then. Will make the race far more interesting. And somehow Marcel Pabst is still not disqualified. And people are already asking, can we please penalize people that do not retire straight away? Might not be a bad idea, because now we've wasted about 2 extra minutes. Now we could have already used to reform the lobby. And I hope for Marcel's sake that that penalty is not going to be introduced today. Otherwise, that ET8 1-2 might already be in trouble. Someone has a two-stop there lost. Now this is interesting already. There's a lot of disagreements in the chat going on whether a one or a two-stop is better. I like that. It's like 20 seconds off indeed. It's a very slow pit lane, as we all know. It's going to cost these drivers a lot more potentially. But perhaps that's better than a puncture. We'll see. We'll see. As soon as we're back in business, I'll be back with you. For now, though, be back in a few minutes. We're back in business. It's gone pretty quickly, I have to say. Indeed, the weather has been set to dynamic once again, and therefore the weather might not be the same as we saw a few minutes ago. Other than that, the grid will be as we saw at the end of qualifying, meaning that ET8 will still have their 1-2. Estenba will be starting from 3rd, and VNT, their fastest driver, Ryan Mudler, will be starting from 4th. There's Carl Vergezen in P5. Zozo will be starting from P6. Then there's Victor Whitler in 7th, and Tamás Kokony, who's recovered some of FVR's pace, starting from P8, just behind the Ferrari driver. Then Alberto, who's done a decent qualifying job as well, from P9. Alessandro Biondi for VRM in 10th, and Joaquin Wigley, and also Loite Mackie from the 6th row, followed by Pascal Gill and Speedy for SET there in the Williams, starting from P14. Then Tom Wolfgram. Adam Schumer, unfortunately, wasn't able to complete a proper qualifying session in P16. And then, of course, Nick Arrow, shockingly, all the way down in 17th. And Jordan Mopti starting from the back of the grid. That is how it is right now. Welcome back. We're headed back to trackside shenanigans. The weather has indeed shifted a little bit for the worse. It's cloudy at the moment, but at least it is going to be dry. I'm watching the Discord closely to see what the drivers are saying about potential weather things. Looks like nobody is shouting rain. And that makes me think that there isn't going to be any rain and that the clouds are going to be the worst we'll see tonight. I'm trying to find out. Yeah, the audio is still working nicely. I haven't heard anything or anyone saying that it was too loud, so I'm assuming that volume-wise we're all good to go. So this is how it stands. Can ET8 actually take a 1-2 home for the team and claim their first victory of the season? That is the big question of the night. How will the standings look like after tonight with VNT down in 4th and 7th, and FER is off even worse in 8th and 17th? And tire strategy-wise, people are disagreeing whether this is a one or two stop. If it is a one-stop, people are saying it's going to be a very difficult one. Others are saying that people doing two stops will be losing massive amounts of time. We'll see. We'll see. AMS are massive tonight. Indeed, with Estenba starting from 3rd, they have a strong opportunity as well to at least finish on the podium. Perhaps something more. We know Estenba from Zandvoort to be a feisty defender and a smart racer indeed in terms of the position he wants to be in. The ideal position to go for the victory by the end of the race, which he managed to do so, of course, in my home country. Now he's going to be here, starting from 3rd, ahead of the top two teams. Both two teams are behind him fully, and ET8, of course. The 3rd team in the standings on the front row, Lockout, something they'll be very, very pleased about, I'm sure. We're waiting for the ready up to be given in the chat. I'm not sure if any time has been given on whether going at 41. All right, that's still quite a long way away. That's wow. They only has 3 minutes to get everything going. That's a long time. Is it raining? Question in the chat. Well, I've of course kept a close eye, as I said on the Discord. There was nobody, as I said, shouting out about the rain. So I would currently say it isn't going to rain in the race. At least that's the prediction. You never really know in this game. Just like real life weather, things might turn out for the worse. And I think that's the beauty of the prediction in this game. People are actually complaining a lot about it, that it isn't accurate. But then again, weather predictions are never fully accurate. And to predict weather on such a precise location is nigh on impossible. So we'll see. We'll have to see what the weather is going to do. At least it's cloudy, so that could mean potentially rain is in the air. This is Great Britain after all. And the chances of rain tend to be a bit higher here. Same goes for the Netherlands, of course. There's always a higher chance there of rain as well. So yeah, that is how it is. I'm curious to see what FVR is going to do, especially Nick Arrow starting from 17th. Is he going to opt for a harder tire at the start of the race and then go a little bit softer later down the line? The mediums, of course. The soft tires, you will not see them being used, not even in a two-stop race. As a two-stop usually means that the tire wear is quite high and softs don't really last that long in the first place. Even with this restart having caused them to reset to a full 100% tire life now. it's still going to be a challenge. It's now 41 minutes past. Indeed, the lights are coming on right now. 3, 4, 5 red lights. Can ET8 keep their front row lockout, or is there going to be attacks from behind? They're held quite long, actually. And off they go then. Here in round 7, season 7. And Estenbach got a brilliant start, trying to break in between both ET8 cars, but he can't manage to stay there, as loads of drivers are going wide into turn 2. And of course, it's a bit of a tentative start, as I said before. Zozo is already up to P5. Tomasz Kokony has got a great start already up to P6. A dive there from Alberto against Carl Vergezen for P7. And he manages to get his Aston Martin ahead. Victor Whittler currently down in P9. Lost a position since the race start, behind the Mercedes at the moment. Trying to get alongside him. Round the outside and then back switching to the inside. And he does get ahead. Well done into the twisty section of the track, as the Ferrari goes back into 8th place. Lotso Loitamaki in P10 at the moment, whereas the FVRs rise P5, Nick Arrow up to P17. And already some damages to the cars. Victor Whitley is already on the attack to another car. It's against Alberto right there for P7. More points for the Ferrari team. The end plate of Alberto's Aston Martin is missing, and so is the end plate of Zozo's Williams. So already some contact happened into the first 2 corners, and we saw several drives going quite wide indeed. Otso Loitamaki's made up another position. Carl Vergezen is in troubles, down to P10 already. Jordan Mopti tried to get ahead of Adam Schumer. Adam Schumer appears to be doing quite well. He's, though, has lost a little bit of a position right there, down to 17th. As Alberto tries to get back at the Haas. Now he's got the inside line, does get ahead. Back into P8 he goes. The top 3, top 4 actually remains as it was. As you can see right here, Tomasz Kokony with the start he needed. Oh, there goes Carl Vergezen into the pit lane. We saw him tumbling down the order during this first lap. And that might be more front wing damage than he would have liked. A disastrous start there for TRT. Neither driver in the points. That's really going to hurt them in their top 4 position in the standings. ET8 still lead 1 and 2. And Ryan Grubb is already pulling away from his teammate. I don't think he wants to pull away too far, though. He wants to keep Marcel Pabst in DRS range, because Estenbach is really enjoying knocking on doors of those who are ahead of him and getting past them easily and quickly. Now let's see how the tire strategies have been chosen. No surprise that at the top of the field have chosen the medium tires. At the back of the field, though, several drivers have started on the hard tires, including, as I was predicting, Nick Arrow on the hards now in P15. As long as he can stay within DRS range, he will soon be able to pass more cars. He's already made up 2 positions since the race start, even on those hard tires, so a good job by him so far. Damage limitation for the second FVR driver for now. Zozo's wing damage so far doesn't really seem to be hurting him too much. There was a bit of a dive there on the inside of Otso Loitamaki. That's Victor Whittler dropping now the order fast. What's happened there? Where's the Ferrari? He's lost a load of positions. That's terrible news for VNT as well. Now, both of the top 2 teams have got 2 drivers in the mud. Victor Whittler probably had a bit of a collision. There's a lot going on at the moment. All cars are very close together. Everybody is trying to get used to this configuration as soon as they can. It looks like, though, Victor Whittler has got no damage. Just a bit of an unfortunate incident then, I'd say. Estenbach, in the meanwhile, is keeping on serious pressure to Marcel Pabst. This 1-2 is all but certain at the moment for the ETA team, because this man is once again trying to snatch another win for his team. He doesn't care about the championship. AMS is nowhere near the title. Speaking of AMS, that's Otso Loitamaki. Otso Loitamaki. I struggle to pronounce the name correctly when you're saying it fast. Oh, he's being hampered by both O&B cars now. He's in the sandwich. And he's not having a good time. He was attacking one car. Oh my goodness me, Alberto being extremely aggressive. Causing Otso to lose a lot of places. There goes Joachim Wigley for IRT. Happily picking up the scraps of that huge collision right there between several cars. Also now trying to get back at Speedy, who's now entered the top 10. He's got a good start as well. Started from the back of the field too. And meanwhile, Nick Arrow under pressure from Adam Schumer. His hard tires, of course, not in favor just yet. But he's holding on. He's just about in the points. Remember, the top 15 does score points, and every single point could be crucial to the championship. So don't throw in the towel too fast. It looks like Carl knows it. He decides to carry on, even though he's now far behind the rest of the field. It looks like Nick is struggling to keep Adam Schumer behind. In the meanwhile, Otso is losing another place, this time against Alessandro Biondi, who gets back into P11. He's lost a position since the race start. He's made one back up now. He started from 10th. Every point counts for VRM as well. The better for P5 with AMS doing a brilliant job so far with Estenba in P3 and Otso now in P12. Alessandro knows that the Haas behind is a threat for their position. The top 5 will actually get some prize money at the end of the season in the standings. And therefore, it is quite crucial for them to keep that. And AMS knows this. But now, Otso is being harassed by Victor Whitler, who wants to get back into the top 10 after what happened 2 laps ago. We missed it, unfortunately, but I'd say he might have been pushed wide by several cars. He lost at least 5 positions. Lots of things going on. Jordan Mopti is unable to stay with the rest of the field. Looks like his Silverstone reverse pace isn't up there, unfortunately. And Zozo is barely hanging on to the top 5. He's doing a really good job despite his front wing damage, but I'm not sure how much longer he's gonna last. He's lucky that the top 5 is close together, so that when they have to slow down for a corner, he can actually make up a little bit of time. Speedy gets ahead of Alberto, who's also got front wing damage. There in the background you can see Ryan Mottler moving out of the slipstream from Estenba. He also pick up damage from that push-off. I think he might have, actually. That was quite a severe collision. But so far, visually, he looks to be quite fine. But he isn't as fast as he was, because he's already lost. Not only has he lost against Alberto in the battle for P8, he's already down to P12. And looks like Zozo is now going to struggle to hang on. There's Pascal Gill over P6, trying to go around the outside. Now the inside. Zozo is doing everything he can, but it will not be enough, unfortunately. And he has to relinquish this position to Pascal. And now he's got Joaquin and his teammate right behind. I would say that as soon as Joaquin gets past, and I think that's just a matter of time, unfortunately, he will let his teammate pass as well. Otherwise, it will not really work out that well for the team. Looks like they're coming in early. They are definitely committing for a 2-stop. 6 laps in. Actually, 5 laps in. And they decided to ditch those medium tires in favor for a new set. Let's see which tires that is going to be. And how much it is going to favor there for an undercut. Does Zozo replace his front wing? That's another big question I want to have a look at. It will cost him a load of time. Yep, he does replace the front wing. It's like it looks like he's decided that it was hurting his performance too much. Now the top 5 is well clear from the rest of the field. Joaquin Wigley and Speedy are together on the hard tires. They might actually be able to make up the ground to the top 5. Now that those mediums are wearing off very fast. They might actually be the race leaders as soon as the top 5 pits. They'll then be hoping for a safety car. There's Alessandro Biondi on Alberto. Alberto is also, as you can see, picked up that front wing damage. Oh, there's a yellow flag in the background. Oh, is that Victor Whitler again? It is Victor Whitler again! I'm not sure what's happening tonight, but he's not having a great time at all. It did look like he was spun, but he might have been pushed off again. Came back on very slowly. It might be the time for him to pit. Because the undercut might be the only way to get back into at least a chance for the top 10 now. Let's see what he does. Top 5 stays out for another lap. In comes Alessandro Biondi, Alberto, Adam Schumer. Victor Whitler carries on for another lap. Looks like VNT have decided to keep him out for the time being. Joaquin Wigley and Speedy are nearly in DRS range to the top 5 now. Victor is getting murdered today. That might actually be the case. I think it might again be an incident between himself and another car, at least one another car, because he's again lost several positions. Alessandro, Adam and Alberto going for the hard tires. Zozo and Pascal have done the same thing. Zozo, unfortunately, had to replace his front wing. He'll be on the back foot for now. He's together with Carl, who also had to replace his front wing. And Joaquin and Speedy are now within DRS range of the top 5. There's only a few drivers now remaining on the mediums. Also, of course, his tires have given up pretty much. Joaquin and Speedy have decided to fight it out. That really doesn't help them getting closer to the cars ahead. And it looks like decided to carry on the fight for another 2 corners. Perhaps. No, Joaquin Wigley stays ahead for now. I think it would be wiser for them to cooperate, to lose as little time as possible, and have perhaps got a shot at the top 5. They are right ahead of them. What's ETA going to do? They carry around for another lap. Looks like they might actually commit to that one stop that many people have condemned and warned the drivers for causing punctures. If they keep it out for 2 more laps, the one stop is definitely possible. In the forwards configuration, so to say, it's usually 10 laps on mediums and then 16 on the hards. Quite easily, actually. Lap 9 could be the earliest. I think so, yeah. If you want to go for an undercut, then no earlier than lap 9 to keep your hard tires in good shape by the end of the race. Several groups have now formed on the track. It's the top 7 still together. Then there's a slew of cars behind, led by Nick Arrow, who's doing a strong job so far of trying to repair the damage that is being done in qualifying, starting from 17th up to P8. Also because, of course, several drivers are pitted already. It also goes for Joaquin and Speedy, who, of course, are going long. And Jordan Mopti as well has now overtaken Tom Wolfgram for P10. Despite his lack of race pace tonight, he's still making the overtakes as the mediums are now properly worn. Now let's see what the top 5 is going to do. Aston Ba still very close, but so is Ryan Modler. So Aston Ba, if he does decide to attack, he'll have to make sure he does it well. Otherwise, there will be a Ferrari right alongside him. Tomasz Kokkinen has decided to ditch the mediums now. Whether this is a 1 or a 2 stop. Oh, as he gets a time penalty there, remains to be seen. But this makes FVR's day even worse for the title fight and the fight for 2nd place as well. A bit of luck there for ET8, as Tomasz Kokkinen will be adding 10 seconds to his race time by the end of the race. Ouch. And there goes Ryan Modler. I think it has been a long time coming. Aston Ba, though, has nearly decided to defend that position. There could have ended in a very nasty collision had he decided to keep his Haas there. Thankfully, he decided to think better of it and move out of the way of the Ferrari. Ryan Modler, at the moment, appears to be faster. And now he's going to try and hunt down the McLarens. Modler wants to keep the podium streak alive. 18 races in a row. That's the podium streak of VNT. Ever since the start of Season 6, they haven't missed a single podium. And right now, Aston Ba is the biggest threat to end that streak. That is the reality. At the moment, at least, the Haas can keep up. But look at that, Marcel Paps made a mistake in the final few corners. And Ryan Modler is now all over him. In fact, he nearly decides to go offensive as Marcel has decided to pit. And so is Ryan, locking up and getting a 10-second penalty as well. I saw that one coming. He locked up massively in the pit entry. And this has just put VNT's podium streak at severe risk. Oh, and... oh, Marcel's got a penalty as well. Oh, no. He does get a penalty too, and ETA's 1-2 is at risk as well. In fact, it's going to be very much impossible at this point, unless something miraculous happens, for ETA to finish 1 and 2. A lot of drama going on. A lot of drama, I'd say. Some very angry drivers now with their pit entries. Of course, they're not used to this sort of pit entry, as normally you don't really get around Silverstone the other way around. Am I seeing things right? Yes. Well, potentially Speedy could be on a podium chance. But remember, he started on the hard tires. That's why he's currently sitting in P3. he'll have to get to the mediums at one point. It very depends on his strategy. Is he going to go for a 1 or a 2 stop? Those at the back of the field, Alessandro all the way down to Alberto, are, I think, definitely committing to a 1 stop. So is Jordan. Jordan, I think, is also going for a 2 stop. I meant to say 2 stop, by the way. Alessandro down to Alberto on a 2 stop. Oof. Ryan Grob comes in as well. He doesn't get a penalty. Estenba goes for his pit stop too. And they are definitely committing to a 1 stop. Now the question becomes, what are the drivers going to do that are still out on the hards? In fact, Speedy has decided to go for a 2 stop as well. He pits early to ditch the hard tires. Go for a quick middle stint. He definitely won't be able to keep these tires alive for 16 laps. So whether this is going to be good enough for a podium remains to be seen. A very interesting race so far. I've got no idea who's going to win this one. Some things we know for certain is that both ETA drivers are on a 1 stop. I'm almost sure of that one. I'm certain about Ryan Grob. Why did Speedy pit? Well, he wants to go for a 2 stop. That's the only explanation. Otherwise, you wouldn't ditch the hards that early. Now, what's Joaquin and Nick going to do? I think Nick might want to commit to a 1 stop to try and salvage some extra points for FVR. As his teammates got a 10-second penalty for speeding. And since he's committed to a 1 stop, he might try and appeal to the FIA, depending on what the speed limiter said. He's now under threat, by the way, from Marcel Pabst. Both of them 10-second time penalty, fighting for a position on the podium. Tomasz Kokeni's undercut has worked wonders. As Marcel Pabst, of course, was fighting for the win. Oh, now they're banging wheels. They're not happy with one another. Joachim Wigley gets a 10-second time penalty as well. I think if there's one thing they had to practice, it was the pit entry, because a lot of drivers seem to miss it completely. Or perhaps a 1 or 2 kph. Either way, it's not really working out at the moment. 3 drivers from the top 3 teams have got a 10-second time penalty. Joachim now as well. ET8, FVR and VNT all have got 1 driver with a 10-second time penalty. So whatever they're fighting for right now, it's not for the win anymore. And ET8, I think, can now forget that one too. Pascal Gill had gone in quite early to commit to a 2 stop. As you can see, finds himself in 2nd place right now. This is how things are. And this is why I love a mix between strategies. Drivers differ in opinions whether a 1 or a 2 stop is better. That makes the most interesting races by far, because normally, and no offense to Pascal, you wouldn't really find him there in 2nd place. And now he is. And he'll be all too delighted to keep the others behind. Nick Arrow is comfortably out in the lead. It looks like he's going to try and go for that 1 stop to have the best chance at scoring the most points possible. A podium, I think, is a little far away for FVR tonight. But you never really know. It's still a big guess. A big guess. Anyone that went to lap 9 or 10 can make it to the end of hards. Absolutely correct there, yes. Speeding out with the fastest lap of the race, and crucially, no 10-second penalty. He's committed to a 2 stop, and he's going to be really fast now. He wants to drive as fast as he can for, I'd say, 6 or 7 laps at most. I think 6 laps would be ideal. He needs to slice his way through this group as soon as he can. Aston Baas on the offensive against Alessandro Biondi. He needs to go as fast as he can as well. He might potentially claim victory tonight, but that means he's going to stay close to Ryan Grob. Ryan Grob is his main competitor for victory. Tomasz, Ryan and Marcel will move out of the way by the end of the race for their 10-second time penalty. And Rod makes a good point about Nick Arrow there. Pascal slowing everyone down. That is indeed brilliantly working in Nick Arrow's favor. So perhaps FVR will salvage something after all. Alberto has got a collision there. Fallen down to 14th place. Speedy trying to be as fast as he can. I think he's nearly cleared this group. No, never mind. He's just only overtaking the second car. Never mind. He's got a long way to go to clear them all. This group is going all the way up to second place. He's got the best tires to do so. But he's going to have to come in again. So while he's currently taking the fight to the top drivers, fighting for that victory, they will not pit anymore. Aston Martin, Ryan Grob, they will definitely stay out until the end of the race. And then we'll see how much speed he can close that gap after his second pit stop. He needs to get ahead of them now, create a bit of a gap. He needs to push. I think that's the best strategy he's got. Chance of safety car, though, isn't that high. Well, there have been several incidents already, so never say never. There's Ryan Grob against Tomasz Kokeny. Not way through just yet. Jochen Wigley gotten past Zozo. Ryan is really putting Tomasz under pressure. Look at that. Oh, he's bumping the Red Bull into the last corner. Or the first corner, whichever way you want to look at it. And he's really telling that he wants to get past the Red Bull there. By the way he's driving. Making his McLaren as big as he can in the rear view mirrors of that Red Bull. DRS not here though. Everyone felt bad for ETA, so they sped on purpose. That's one way to look at it. Also, gotten past Alberto. Alberto is not having a great day after this collision. He's now lost even more time. And also, of course, had to come back at him for sure. And then you saw Alberto nearly losing it. And Tom Wolfgram getting past now for P15. It's a very mixed bag of emotions, I'd say, tonight for all of these drivers. Carl Vergezen comes in again for a second stop. On 12 lap on the hard tires now. And Pascal Gill, well, if he keeps it up like this, slowing them all down, that's going to be very interesting indeed. We're nearly at the point where Nick Arrow is going to pit for the mediums. At the end of lap 16, usually. He's just over 8 seconds away from Pascal at the moment. He's closed the gap a little bit, but not as fast as the rest could have done. In fact, Speedy is still stuck behind Aston Martin. Well, that two-stop strategy right now really isn't working in his favor, unless he will have massive overspeed on his fresher tires by the end of the race. But he's going to have to make up a lot of time. I think the pit stop here is about 26 seconds. That's the time he'll be losing. And all drivers ahead of him, except for Pascal, are on a one-stop. That's going to be really interesting to watch. Ooh, Pascal has now decided to go for a second stop. Lose as little time as possible. There's 10 laps to go. Or 11, actually. So I think he's going to have to pick the hard tires to stay safe at the end of it. Has he chosen the hard tire option? He has. More hard tires than for Pascal, all the way until the end of the race. Both Williams have pitted as well. Is there a communication error there then? Oh, that's going to cost Zozo some time. And he was already struggling this race. Despite his brilliant qualifying, the front wing damage really has hampered his performance. And now he's been held up by his teammate in the pit lane. Was there a communication error there for SET? And now we're going to find out whether Speedy can get himself back onto the podium. Well, if you're watching the minimap right now, the gap between himself and Marcel and Ryan is huge. There's no way he can make that up in time. Absolutely no way. Diego Zozo, well, almost. Nick Arrow's gap between himself and Marcel shrunk to 5 seconds now. He's on lap 16. I think he'll be coming in. He does indeed. For his one and only pit stop to the medium tires, and then we'll see what he can do from there. Alberto gets a 3-second time penalty. In fact, the 3-second time penalty tonight is much rarer than a 10-second time penalty. That's a thing you'll almost never see. We also see several other drivers pitting. Alessandro Biondi for a second stop. Joaquin Wigley in once again. Alberto retires. I'm not entirely surprised there, I have to be honest. He had to stop for a second time and they would have put him well out of the points. And now Pascal is back in the points. Ryan Grob finally gets past Tomasz. It's been coming for a long time. Tomasz's tires are past their prime. Ryan has now got the tire advantage. And while it won't be a 1-2 for ET8, they can still have Ryan Grob win it. In fact, he's already won it at the moment. I'm not sure if those penalties are going to get removed. I don't think they're going to be. Don't let the two Ryans get close. Wouldn't be the first time they're getting close, but this time it's quite different because one Ryan has got a penalty, the other one doesn't. If you've just tuned in, this is how it stands. 10 laps to go. 3 drivers have managed to get themselves a 10-second time penalty by entering the pit lane too fast. Or perhaps slightly too fast. Who will say? They might want to appeal that to the FIA. So whatever result we'll see tonight might not be the final result. And Ryan and Tomasz might still end up on the podium. Tom Wolfgram suddenly finds himself in P6. He'll be quite happy with that one. He started from 15th, remember. And he's on the same strategy as the top 5. He's only 6.7 seconds away. And he's benefited from drivers going for a 2-stop. From Nick Arrow downwards. Or actually, no, from Pascal Gill downwards. It's drivers on a 2-stop. Nick Arrow has decided to go for a 1-stop and starting on the hards. But look how far away he is from the rest. This is going to be a tough one. Aston Ba now against Tomasz Kokeny. He's definitely on podium course once again as well, Aston Ba is. And he's putting serious pressure on the FVR car around the outside, perhaps. Not yet. He'll need a bit more overspeed than that. But his tires are definitely fresher. Tomasz is struggling on those hards now. The undercut has worked initially. But now he's paying the price already. 9 laps old. Should normally not be that much of an issue. But perhaps he's pushed too hard. And he's losing a lot of time to the top 3. FVR's podium hopes are pretty much in the mud, with Nick Arrow 12 seconds behind the second group. There's no way that's going to work, and it seems like medium to hard was actually by far the fastest strategy for now. Very interesting how different it has been for Nick Arrow to stay out long on the hards and then swap to the mediums. And how now he's so far behind the rest. It's quite incredible. Even with Pascal holding up the group behind him and not allowing them to catch us fast, he's in P9. But then again, remember, he started from 17th. And now up in P9 is still a massive victory. So I think he'll still be satisfied with the result. Of course, a podium would have been incredible, let's be honest. Starting from 17th and now up in P9. Podium would be insane, to say the least. We're carrying on to the final laps of the race. One group fighting for victory, with only 2 drivers actually without a penalty. Ryan Grob and Aston Ba are the only 2 drivers who can actually claim victory in this group. The question is, who's going to finish 3rd? As it stands, it's actually Marcel. Or is he? It might actually be Tom. Tom might finish on the podium if he keeps it up like this. 3 drives ahead of him has got a 10-second penalty. That's interesting. Tom Wolfgram might actually end up on the podium tonight in 3rd place. And Atso might have something to say about it, or perhaps Victor Whittler has. And then maybe he can save a podium streak for VNT. All these three need to do is stay within 10 seconds of the group ahead. And all Ryan and Astonba need to do is don't get any penalties and stay out of trouble. And then they have it in the bag. At the moment, Ryan Grubb on victory course. ET8 pride indeed. It's not the 1-2, as I said, that they were wishing for. And that many people probably were hoping for. But it still could be a win. At the moment, Ryan is winning it. Even if Ryan and Marcel finish ahead, he will get it. Solely based on penalties, because there's no way the top two drivers can drive away from him right now. The tires are older. Ryan Grubb is in very good form tonight. He might just take it home for the team. Astonba will most likely finish 2nd as it stands. And as I said, Tom Wolfgram might actually finish 3rd. But he has got to fight for it, because Otso and Victor might have something to say about that. And we could actually see a double podium for AMS, potentially. That will be very interesting. Lap 21 out of 26. Drama for some of the top drivers as they went too fast into the pit entry lane. Got themselves a 10-second time penalty. And now their victory chances are gone. Tom Wolfgram could potentially drive the race of his life for a podium for IRT after scoring no points whatsoever last race. He's got a very good chance of doing so tonight. Nick Arrow is approaching them, well, not fast enough. He's still 8 seconds behind this group. And his gap to the race lead is still 17.5 seconds. So he will not overtake either of those penalized drivers. So far, so good then. Astonba now putting on the pressure to Tomasz Kokry. Tries to go around the outside. In the last or first corner, whatever you want to call it. And he's now really showing Tomasz that he's faster. And he will have to get past the Red Bull to take the fight to Ryan on the final few laps. Ryan is happily towing off the cars ahead. Oh, Tomasz went wide, and that's his position gone. And now Astonba's got to hurry up. He nearly lost DRS to the car ahead. But it would have made him very vulnerable from behind. It looks like Tomasz's race is not going brilliantly. His tires appear to be quite dead. Astonba now definitely out for P2. That is correct. All he needs to do is overtake Ryan Grubb for the win. Tom Wolfgram on his way to a podium. Otso and Victor are currently patiently waiting behind. They don't want to be ahead just yet. They're probably charging their battery right now. Yep, Otso's got a lot of battery. Victor as well. Let's see about Tom. He's got a decent chunk left too. Not as much as the other two, but still quite well charged to defend at least a little bit. But he knows that he won't be attacked until at least the second to last lap. And Victor Whittler is now decided to take the fight to Otso. He wants to get past the Haas now. He knows that their podium streak is at risk. And the only way to absolutely guarantee a podium is to finish ahead of Tom Wolfgram. We do not yet know whether the penalties can be removed. And now Ryan Mottler has decided to pile on the pressure to Marcel Pabst. For what is going to be P4. Whoa, Marcel goes wide and through goes Ryan Mottler. Or perhaps Marcel did that on purpose. Now once again the ET8 cars are back together. Had none of these drivers gotten a penalty, it would have been a brilliant battle for the win between these 5 drivers. Tom Wolfgram is starting to lose time. He's now 7 seconds away. He's still got a bit of a margin, that's true. But he doesn't need to lose more time than that. Otherwise, it will be a potential problem there. I think these drivers have decided to realize that they are at risk of Tom Wolfgram and his gang. Of 2 other cars. And they probably want to work together to increase that gap. Tomasz Kokony now has nearly lost DRS. He's barely holding on. Marcel Paps is putting on the pressure to Ryan Modler once again. While the other Ryan is right behind him, but that is his own teammate. He will not be attacked by Ryan Grubb. In fact, Ryan Grubb might actually be attacked by Astonba, as they are the only 2 cars properly fighting for the win. Ryan Modler and Marcel Paps are fighting for what is now 4th. Tom Wolfgram is losing more time. This is the gap from Tom Wolfgram. Yeah, look at that. 9.5 seconds to Ryan Modler. Otto is already out of podium contention. Tom Wolfgram is on the brink of losing that podium. Scary times there for the IRT driver. Oh, Otto is not having a great time through the corners there. Victor Wittler is showing him how to get through those corners, but he still can't get past. Pascal Gill, in the meanwhile, has gotten past Speedy for P10, a bit further back. Ah, look at that. Victor Wittler is definitely faster. Oh, they nearly come together right there. We've seen Otto being a feisty defender and attacker. He's already had a collision with Alberto, but I think between those 2, it was probably Alberto's fault. And now he's definitely put the both of them out of podium contention. They've nearly lost DRS to Tom. Tom's probably happy for them to fight hard, so he can get a bit of a breather, I'd say. Back to the front of the field. On the penultimate lap here in Silverstone Reverse. This is the battle we want to keep an eye on. Astonba has decided now is the time to put on the pressure to Ryan Grubb. It's now or never. That's what he's thinking, but he needs to get exit. Does he get it? Not necessarily. This is probably too far back, as Ryan's got DRS as well. No way past. Tomasz is hanging on. Tom Wolfgram, I think Tom Wolfgram's podium hopes are now done. He's now officially 10 seconds behind the leader, which is currently Ryan Modler, of course. He's barely hanging on to Marcel Paps as well. It's going to be very, very close. He's currently 9.8 seconds away from Marcel. Garvegese gets the fastest lap of the race. At least a point extra there for TRT. They're having a nightmare race, by the way. Adam and Carl 13th and 17th. There'll be a race to forget for them. Last week they were fighting for the win. This time they're barely scraping home some points, and now they're fighting for 12th against Alessandro Biondi. We're about to head into the final lap. These are the intervals between the cars once again. Astonba must get past Ryan Grubb to win the race. That's the big thing of the stories of tonight. He can take away victory for ET8 and claim another win for AMS. And that means AMS will be the only other team in this season to get multiple victories. That was a poor exit, unfortunately. And that means he will not be able to attack. He had to keep his car under control to make sure he didn't lose it. And that means Ryan Grubb is a bit more safe now. Cinema, if there's a puncture, that would be so... Oh, and Esteban, that is also Cinema, by the way. He gets a 3-second time penalty. Gone is his chances for victory. And Ryan Grubb has now got a... Oh, there goes Tom Wolfgram. Does he have a puncture then? Is he the one who's gotten himself... He does have a puncture! The man that potentially wasn't course for a podium is now gone. And Victor Wittler can't believe his luck. He's now managed to get past Lotso Itamaki. Now we'll find out whether VNT can keep the podium streak alive. Ryan Mutler on track is going to win it. But the victory is gonna go to the other Ryan. It is Ryan Grubb that has returned to form while going in the reverse direction on Silverstone as he wins 4:88 at long last. Estenba will still take second place because the other drivers had a 10-second time penalty. Now Victor Whitler. Will he get his podium and keep it alive? No, but it is Ryan Mutler that will keep the podium. And VNT's podium streak continues with Ryan Mutler finishing at third after all. Ahead of Marcel Paps in fourth. His teammate in P5 and the FVR have kept the damage limited to a P7 and P8 finish. But poor Tom wasn't able to keep the tires alive long enough. The one stop just didn't work. As he comes across the line, slowly and deeply disappointed, as there was a podium on the way for him potentially. He would have finished where Victor is finished now, P5. Oof. Well, Aston already asking in the chat, 10 seconds legit or no? And Ryan Gropp saying, I hope so. They were, I believe, is what Ollie says in the chat now. This is, well, I'd say the tentative results. The only one in question is Tamash, apparently. If he does get that penalty removed, he will actually finish second, which would be a big relief for FVR. At least they will have one driver outscoring both VNT drivers. But for now, though, VNT are gaining once again on FVR. ET8 with first and fourth will be gaining, though, on both VNT and FVR. And AMS, look at that, season best result, second and sixth. They'll be very delighted with that result. Very, very strong drive from both AMS drivers. Estenba once again showing he's, well, the golden card for the team. And they will probably want to hope that he can drive every single week. Or perhaps both Zandvoort and Reverse Silverstone were his favorites. That could be another possibility as well, of course. Let's see if there's going to be any drivers interested in interviews. First and foremost, tagging our race winner. Let's not tag the wrong Ryan. Secondly, actually, I should tag the other Ryan as well because he finished on the podium anyway. There we are. Now, of course, we're going to hope that the Discord audio will work as well. What a race, what a race. Not as exciting as could have been, of course, because several drivers had their penalties. No penalty, but thought Modler will get it removed. Let's see. Let's hope, actually, he does join us for an interview. He might be able to give us some insight on that penalty especially. Because it would either mean a podium or an actual victory for the team. And they, of course, want to gain as many points as possible. It is Ryan Gropp actually joining us first and foremost. Our current race winner. Ryan Gropp, I hope you can hear us. And I hope the people watching us can hear you as well. Congratulations on what was probably an interesting race, to say the least, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was. I mean, first of all, thank you. Collie was pretty good. I had a slight PB and Marcel had a huge PB. So having him in P2, I mean, really helped in the first stint. And then it would have been pretty close on tires and tires management. I mean, people that pit lap 6, they noticed on lap 15 that they would have never gotten through. And people that started on hards pushed too much and had to pit early as well for a 2-stop. So we knew it was going to be close, but then the main contenders got 10 seconds. I mean, apparently I'm reading some might not be legit, which would be a shame. Because as soon as you see that, you know, you can just relax a bit more, maybe only do 95%, another 100%, and take no risk. So if I lose the win because of that, that's unlucky, but that's just at the game. But yeah, besides that, pretty decent race, good result for the team, and first race in quite a while in CSS as well. So happy to be back.
You were absolutely on form tonight. How much have you practiced actually for reverse Silverstone?
Not that much in recent times, but basically at the start of the game, I grinded a bit because I had the time trial world record and I'd still have it, but I reset my time. Um, and then I think I did CES Silverstone Reverse as well, my ET8 debut, which I got Poland 1 on as well. So pretty good track for me so far this game, second race. For today, not that much practice, but I guess a lot of it is muscle memory. I knew where to brake, I knew what to do, so that definitely helped out a lot.
And then the tire strategy, were you certain about the one stop or was it a bit of a gamble?
I mean, it's Silverstone, so it's probably the one track where you kind of have to try and do a one stop no matter what. But we knew, I mean, on the mediums also to save. And then we were very lucky that it was overcast because I think we had like 5 to 6 degrees Celsius less on each tire. So I think that helped a bit. I mean, our medium tire wear was a lot lower than expected. So that was good. Then we knew we should have less tire wear on the hard stint as well. And then people pit so early, we kind of knew they were never going to make it. But yeah, track, I mean, it's even harder to overtake. Like, I think it's without like Monaco and street tracks, probably the hardest proper track, like much harder to overtake than the regular layout. So we, even if we go for an overcut, we still need to get past. And once you start pushing and focusing on the overtake, you forget to manage tires. So it can go pretty quickly. But as I said, the 10 seconds helped so much. I mean, I had the Haas behind me already, so I literally didn't have to do a single overtake. I was in the voice call with Marcel, of course. So we could drive together as we did in the first stint and pretty much secure the win. Unfortunate that he didn't get third, I think it was. But yeah, I think overall pretty well managed race on our side.
I mean, absolutely correct on that one. Absolutely agree. Speaking of titles now, last question. Do you think ET8 can actually take the title to VNT and FVR after tonight?
I hope so. I honestly don't know what the standings looks like. I don't even know what like round or race we're in, and I think it's the first one I've done this season. I've heard we're in the fight for second, and that I think VNT is out front, something like that. I think I remember.
Correct. Yep.
So I hope we can get more good results. And yeah, I mean, if we do perform like today, we had a decent setup, two pretty strong drivers. So if we can keep being consistent, getting the strategy right, maybe a bit of luck today on our side, a bit more than in other races. But I mean, if you need to just be consistent. So if you can consistently get top fives, I think we're in for a good shout to close up to P1.
Right. Let's see. But first and foremost, let's see what the race results of tonight are going to be, because I can see in the Discord there's a lot of discussion going on whether the penalty was legit or not. So we'll have to wait and see what the FIA thinks. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, and enjoy, for now at least, the victory.
Thank you very much for accommodating. Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks.
All right. Looks like, unfortunately, Ryan Grob is the only one to join us for an interview tonight. But at least there was some interesting insights about tires, strategies, and all the like. The one-stop appeared to be a struggle after all, but it was indeed the fastest way to get around the track because the pit lane is so slow and long. So indeed, it was going to be a close call. Tom Wolfgram suffered the results there with the puncture by the end of the last lap. It was halfway through the final lap, and then his tire front right actually decided to blow itself to smithereens. And that was that for the man who might have finished in the top 5 at least. But that's how it is for now. As I said, this is anything but settled yet. The discussion is going on in the Discord about whether 60 kph is illegal or not. Some say it is, some say it isn't. It depends on how the game rounds it up or down, apparently. So that's going to be an interesting discussion to take to the stewards on what they think on these penalties. I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 drivers, Tamas, Ryan, and Marcel, will report their penalties and see what they can do about it. But I think if one is denied, then all 3 will be denied anyways, to prevent any controversy. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we're heading to another brilliant track. Qatar, another one, I'll have to admit, is quite difficult to overtake, but actually does surprise me more often than not in terms of how the racing is done there. Most likely will be a one-stop too. And we'll see you there. Next week, same place, same time. Until then, goodbye.